Well folks, here we are. We've reached the final game in the original Fatal Fury series, but fret not! There are still more Fatal Fury games to come, and a whole lot more SNK games that I will eventually get to. But here's the best part about today's episode. Fatal Fury 3 Road to the Final Victory is, in my opinion, the best game in the original lineup. It has the right amount of challenge and fun that just makes this game really addictive to play. And I'm serious about that. This game feels great. Like, holy shit, so much fun. So much fun! I'm having fun! Unlike the last game, which makes me want to tear my own head off before Andy does it. I'm watching you. This is a public service reminder that Danny hates Fatal Fury 2 because despite it being a good game, it is too difficult. P.S. Duck King's booty. Alright, Fatal Fury 3 improves upon literally everything that the other games improved upon. But this time, to an extreme that's out of this world. I swear that if I didn't know any better, this game wasn't even part of the same series. You see, the thing with the other Fatal Fury games is that they have this stiffness about them. It wasn't exclusive to Fatal Fury either. A lot of older fighting games are stiff as a boner! And because of that, older fighting games are often hard to go back to for the uninitiated. Play a modern fighting game like Ultra Street Fighter 4, Mortal Kombat 9, 10, BlazBlue, pick a version, or Guilty Gear, and then hop on over to Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat, or God help you Fight Fever, and you'll see what I mean. It's not that you can't adapt to it, it's just more difficult to get used to. But thankfully Fatal Fury 3 does not have that problem. This game plays very smoothly, very fluid, and the combo system works beautifully here. It's definitely a game that you can easily jump right into from any modern fighting game. And I'm gonna be stretching for a lot of material here because there's not really a lot that I can say that's bad about Fatal Fury 3. It's really good and you should go play it. After you watch this video, of course. I do love the character select screen though. It's like a club photo. Class of Fatal Fury High, 1990, whenever the fuck. And I'm picking Terry again because no shit. The first 4 people you can fight are Sambo Fighter Blue Mary, our old pal Joe, Why Am I Here Higashi, and new characters Mike Kickboxer Franco Bash, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Master Bob Wilson, who appears to need his vision corrected. You alright there, Bob? Need a good optometrist before we fight? No? Well, okay then. The worst part about that fight is he only saw half of it coming. Next up, we have Terry's love interest, Blue Mary, and she's making her series debut. And I am so in love! I mean, don't get me wrong, my Shiranui is a babe and all, but come on. Come on, Blue Mary was modeled after Android 18 from Dragon Ball Z. How could I not fall in love with her? P.S. SNK better bring back Blue Mary for KOF 14. Do it. Just do it! Shia LaBeouf! But one amusing thing about Fatal Fury 3 is immediately after you beat an opponent, Terry just Superman flies on over to the next area. And look at him! He's all chibified! That's adorable! Chibi Terry is here to save the day, and you better let him because he'll punch you. And he won't regret it. Just look at all the bodies. Terry's cold. Sadly, the game doesn't have much of a story until after you beat the first 4 competitors. Then this new guy just randomly shows up and tries to wreck your shit. The weird thing about this fight is you only have to fight him once. There's not even a second round like all the other fights, so it's a huge contrast. And then you need to run around fighting everyone else trying to get these magic scrolls he was talking about. Well, that's all fine and dandy. I have a question. Terry, what the hell were you doing beating the shit out of your girlfriend, your best friend, and 2 new guys? Why were you doing that? Anyway, you eventually get to Andy, and is he as cheap as he was in Fatal Fury 2 and Special? Actually, no. He's very well balanced this time around. Oh, sure, he's challenging, but he's nowhere near as overpowered as he previously was. Definitely one of the tougher opponents in the game, but it's not he can't be beaten with some tenacity and skill. And that's what makes Fatal Fury 3 stand out in my mind. It's one of the most well-balanced fighting games I've ever played. If you're just good, you can beat this game. And it's also really fun and addictive to play, so you're going to want to beat this game too. And after Andy, we get new guys Hanfu and Sokaku. Hanfu is a nunchucker and kung fu master, and Sokaku... Whoa! What the fuck? I signed up for a Fatal Fury game, not JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Did he just throw mini-me's at me? He threw mini-me's at me! Look at him! They're beating the shit out of me! And he can summon lightning? You know, I wanted to be nice and not make the Mortal Kombat comparison to Raiden, but after that, it ain't leaving my head. Well, at least he has pitiful health, and if you just bum rush him, then he can barely fight back at all. So I guess he's well balanced for a zoning character. But seriously, what the fuck is up with this thing? Okay, I'm gonna come clean with you guys now. There are no significant problems up until this point, but there is one major problem in the game, and its name is Geese Howard. You see, on your journey to collect the scrolls before Yamazaki does, your paths inevitably cross with Geese Howard again, who's seeking revenge for being kicked out of that window. Well, maybe he shouldn't have kidnapped you and brought you to the top of his huge building to fight in the first place, but hey, I told you he wasn't dead. Geese is back, and he's stronger than ever. And if you thought he was challenging in the first game, he was, but here he's just as hard. You see, Geese is an example of what fighting game fans like to call SNK boss syndrome. And although almost everyone calls Geese in the first Fatal Fury game an example of this, I think he's also an example in Fatal Fury 3. This is one of the most difficult and infuriating fights I have ever had in a fighting game. And I can attribute all of that to his uneven AI and that fucking grapple counter he does. You see, sometimes he'll just spam you with his Reppuken, which since you can either block, jump, or sidestep, it gives you the advantage against him on those. But other times, he won't use it at all, and instead favor beating the shit out of you or spamming that grapple counter. And if he does the latter, then don't! And what gets on my nerves is that he can use it mid-combo too, just how is that fair? How is that fair at all? That's like me punching a guy in the face and halfway through he tells me to stop so he can grab my arm and throw me across the room and then tap dance on my testicles. This is some bullshit and I don't gotta put up with it. I'm a fighting game fan. Bring it on, Geese! To make things worse, if you lose 2 rounds, you go back to the character select screen, pick your character, read Geese's taunt, and then
I'm gonna bite you so bad.
Excuse me?
I'm gonna bite you so bad.
Excuse me, could you repeat that one more time for me, please?
I'm gonna bite you so bad.
At least buy me dinner first, come on.
I'm gonna bite you so bad.
Yes, hello? I'd like to file a restraining order against a strange Australian man with a large stick because he keeps taunting me and saying, and I quote, I'm gonna fuck you so bad. Okay, I'll hold. Every time I fought Geese, I heard this audio, and each time it got on my nerves. I found myself yelling at the screen, "Shut up, Billy!" in total vain. I was hoping I'd at least have to fight him before I fight Geese, just so I could punch him in his obnoxious Aussie face. Just look at this piece of shit. Immediately after he threatens you, he jumps behind Geese. He's like that little guy at the bar or school, wherever the fuck you socialize. He'll be talking some mad shit to you, and the very second you stand up, he jumps behind his huge-ass friend. Is that what you want? You want to play that game? You want to make threats you can't back up? I beat you in the first Fatal Fury game, and I'll beat you here. Come on, get your ass over here, you little prick! After many tries and temper tantrums, I did manage to beat Geese. And following that, we get a pretty cool final stand by him, as he basically burns to death on top of his tower of fire. Chen Xingzan, you know, the fat guy from the last 2 games, shows up to transport you to Yamazaki, where you fight him one last time before being teleported to a park and fighting the real final boss of the game. And he's easy as shit. Yeah, I know that there's technically 2 final bosses depending on how badly you beat Yamazaki, but it doesn't matter at this point. The ending's the same regardless. You beat the kid and Terry adopts him. Terry's cool like that, but what's really weird is this. The kid specifically mentions that he's over 2,000 years old. Terry, I don't think he needs to be raised by anybody. Okay, I'll admit it. I'm not really a fan of how the game ends. I mean, I don't think it's a bad ending or anything like that, but rather it's a bit anticlimactic. You spend so long trying to beat Geese Howard, Terry's arch rival since the first game, and it all ends with Geese burning to death. Normally, that would be a storybook ending. I mean, don't get me wrong, Yamazaki and the Jin twins are fine characters in their own right, but it's just really hard to top beating the asshole who started all of this, and then him dying in a towering inferno. Well, despite my complaints and grievances with Fatal Fury 3's ending, it's still a fantastic game, and you really should play it. Now, there are more games to come afterwards, and eventually I will talk about the other Fatal Fury games, but I think for now we give Terry and friends a much-deserved rest. Thanks for watching. If you're in for more fighting game reviews, then I have the other Fatal Fury games I've reviewed already. And there's also a review for Shaq Fu that I had to re-upload thanks to copyright problems. If you want to keep it with me, then I'd be honored if you would subscribe to my channel or follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Oh, you want to know when I'm getting to this? February. Be patient.